He was an actor on Riverdale and Supernatural, and then he murdered his mom. Ryan Grantham was born and raised in Squamish, Canada, right outside of Vancouver and just north of Washington. He lived with his older sister Lisa and his mom Barbara, who he was very close with. Ryan's dad abandoned the family just shortly after Ryan was born. Ryan was severely bullied in school. He had a speech impediment. He was always much smaller than all the other kids. Even as an adult, he only ever reached about 5'2" in height. Sadly, even as a very young kid, Ryan really suffered with his mental health and he became extremely attached to his mother. When Ryan was still a very young kid, he became extremely interested in acting, and his mom, who wanted to support her struggling child, brought him to every single audition. And Ryan actually started booking roles by the time he was only 8 years old. Ryan was a pretty successful child actor because he was so small, he could play younger roles for much longer. He started out just booking like minor commercial roles, but then he booked his first ever movie role just 1 year into his career, and it was like this cute little Christmas movie. And after that, Ryan just started booking role after role. Like, he was really booked and busy. He booked the role of Todd, which was a lead role in an episode of Supernatural. Supernatural is a show that's been on my list of things to watch since high school, but I've actually never watched it. Ryan then booked a role in a movie that had like a bunch of A-list actors in it. This was a really big deal. He was going to be starring alongside Johnny Depp, Heath Ledger, and Andrew Garfield. And through acting, Ryan became more confident than ever, and he was the happiest that he had ever been. And his mother, Barbara, was right by his side, supporting him and protecting him through all of it. At 11 years old, Ryan booked a role in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. At 13 years old, he booked his first ever leading role in his own movie called Becoming Redwood.
Hi, I'm Ryan Grantham, and I'm playing the role of Redwood. Redwood is a 11-year-old boy, and he's determined, and he'll stop at almost nothing to get what he wants. If I could go back to the 70s, I think it'd be because of the fashion. Just because, look at these. How awesome are these pants? You will not find these today. We had to have these handmade. Come on. That's pretty awesome.
At this point, Ryan really seems like such a nice, happy kid. But as Ryan got older, he stopped booking as many roles, which is really common for child actors once they reach like their teenage years and especially adulthood. This was extremely hard on Ryan, who didn't understand why he wasn't as successful as he was when he was a kid, and he became really depressed. By 2016, Ryan was 18 years old. He was a legal adult. He started college, but he was still taking himself to like audition after audition, and all he was getting was rejection after rejection. But then Ryan booked a small role in the hit show Riverdale.
Fred Andrews. Well, wait, that's the man you killed. Tell me, I swear. Kill you!
Stop! He didn't do it. He didn't do anything wrong. He told the police he did it. To protect me, but it wasn't him. Okay? It was me. It was my fault. I took the car when I wasn't supposed to. I don't even have my license. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And he thought that maybe his career was gonna take off again, but it didn't. And Ryan just starts going down such a dark path. He's using substances, he's in and out of rehab a few times, he starts failing his college classes, and he just feels like an absolute failure. He's still living at home with his mom at this point, and she's really doing everything she can to support her kid that she knows is struggling. But Barbara was actually struggling a lot herself. She was juggling a lot at this point because it was actually around this time that Barbara was diagnosed with cancer. In 2019, Ryan is 21 years old, and he's in a really dark place, and he's having a lot of dark, violent thoughts and fantasies. He becomes obsessed with watching really dark, graphic, violent videos online of real murder, torture, and SA. Ryan became obsessed with weapons. He became obsessed with serial killers because he felt like he could relate to the serial killers because they were also weirdos. Ryan became obsessed with the 2019 Joker movie because he felt like he could relate to the Joker character in this movie. And spoiler alert for the ending of this movie, the Joker kills a lot of people, including his own mother, by the end of the film. It's around this time that Ryan is fantasizing about actually killing someone. And by the time the March 2020 lockdown started, those fantasies that Ryan was having became real plans to kill someone. Ryan wanted everyone to know his name. He wanted to be in the news, and he wanted to to make the biggest impact as possible, so he actually began planning to assassinate the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who is currently dating Katy Perry. Ryan plans the entire assassination, but then he starts to second guess himself because he feels bad because he doesn't want his mom to live with what he did. He doesn't want his mom to have to live with the fact that her child was a killer, that he was evil. So instead of just not killing someone, he decides that she needs to die first, and he begins planning to murder his mom so he could spare her from knowing that he was an evil killer. On March 31st, 2020, Barbara and Ryan were having a nice evening at home playing games, and then Ryan goes upstairs to his bedroom and he grabs a rifle. He brings it downstairs to kill his mom, but by the time he makes it to the steps, he hears his mom downstairs playing piano. Growing up, Barbara always used to play piano for Ryan. It was something that he really loved. It was a great memory growing up with his mom that he claimed to really love. So now, listening to his mom play the piano, Ryan starts to second guess if he wants to actually kill his mom, so he sits down on the steps, still holding the rifle, for over 15 minutes trying to talk himself out of killing his mom. But ultimately, he decides to go through with it. Barbara is still playing piano, so her back is to Ryan, so thankfully she never really knew what her son did to her. Walks up behind her, he points it at the back of her head, and then he pulls the trigger. 64-year-old Barbara White was a single mother of 2. She was a great mother who always put her kids first. She was their sole caregiver their entire lives, and she was even her own mother's caregiver. She was truly a great mother and a great person, and all she ever did her entire life was try to love and support her son. Ryan grabs a camera and he films himself right after he killed his mom. He tells the camera what he just did. He even films his mother's body. You can then hear him on the video going, "I just killed my mom. I just killed my mom. I shot the only person who loved me in the back of the head." But then Ryan watches some TV in the same room with his mother's body. He makes some homemade explosives. He takes a nap, and then he even eats, all with his mother's dead body in the same home, or even the same room. He then gets ready to drive to the Prime Minister's house to kill him. The Prime Minister actually lived on the complete other side of the country, so it would take him 50 hours if he drove just straight. So before he gets on his road trip, he makes himself a playlist. He gets in the car, he starts driving, but Ryan only makes it about 3 hours out of his 50-hour trip before he changes his mind for some reason and turns back around. But Ryan said that he didn't want his mom to die for nothing, so he drove to his college where he had a bunch of weapons and he planned a shooting, but thankfully he also changed his mind again. And instead, Ryan drove to the police station where he turned himself in. But sadly, not before his sister Lisa went to their mother's house, and she was tragically the person that found her mother's body. Ryan originally planned to plead not guilty by reason of insanity, but he had multiple psych evals where they all found him legally sane. So he pled guilty and he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 14 years. And if Ryan is granted parole at that time, he will be released in September of 2036 at the age of 37 years old. And if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to Barbara White's story. She seemed like a truly amazing person, and she did not deserve what happened to her, and my heart truly goes out to anyone that knew and loved Barbara. Really interested to hear all your thoughts on this case. Have you ever heard of this case before? Let me know in the comments. But while you're there, please remember to always be respectful. You don't know who could be on the comments, who could have stumbled across this video. Someone that actually knew and loved Barbara in real life could be in the comments. So please always remember to be respectful. And while you're in the comments, please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. Thank you to everyone that suggested that we covered this case today. And I will see you guys all next time in my next video. Please be a good person to your fellow person.